Call the Westfield Board of Public Works and Safety to order. Do we have the clerk to recognize the presence of a quorum on the line, maybe? Bueller? She can't get on. We'll wait here a second for Kim.
Kim, supposed to.
Yeah. She's not on, this didn't happen. Yeah. If you download it, you can open it as a PDF, so the whole packet, so it quits crashing, and you just gotta scroll through the whole thing.
Hey, Kim, can you hear?
I am on. Thank you. Yes.
Kim, you're on?
I am. Sorry.
Great. Glad we got it figured out. We'll now call the Westfield Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order for April 23rd, 2025. Kim, could you recognize the presence of a quorum?
Chuck Lehman,
Here.
Nick Barb Connect.
Here?
We do have a quorum.
Perfect, thank you. Now we've got approval of the minutes from the March 26th and April 7th meetings. I've read them and reviewed them and have no edits myself. Did you catch anything?
Same.
Chuck?
Same.
All right, we have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve action item 1 and action item 2. Those are the minutes from the 26th of March and the 7th of April.
And I will second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We've got a couple changes to agenda, and we've got a big agenda today, as some of you might have noticed, and so I asked Pat what the deadline was to submit things for the agenda normally on her timeline, and she said Wednesdays. And so going forward, Pat's going to ask us permission to add things to the agenda just so that we have time to review them. And so there's a couple edits to the agenda that I want to make that, just as a heads up, we'll keep them on the agenda. We had a request for 36, action item number 36, to go forward to be an actual document instead of signing authority. Just because the change is last minute, we'll keep it on the agenda and discuss it, but I'm more inclined to table that one, just to get more time to review it and the documents, so that we have time to look at it. And then we also have a request to update action items 6 and 7, replacing the signing authority presented as action item number 6. And since that's removing the document to signing authority, I'm more inclined to roll along with that one. Do we need to make any motions on either of those? Okay. We've now added those to the agenda. Anything else from you on that?
No.
All right,
Acknowledge.
cool. All right, on to action item number 3, the resolution 25-121, a resolution with City of Westfield Board of Public Works and Safety with Pattern Inc.
So I'll start off, and I know that Economic Development is here to talk about this as well. Just as a little legal premise, the city and the board owns and controls the property, and the city can lease property and dispose of it to certain nonprofits without following the typical statutory disposal procedures involving council and the mayor and appraisals. The one before you today would be a 1-year lease without automatic renewal with Pattern Inc., which is an appropriate nonprofit. And I will let Economic Development discuss the actual purpose of the lease, but if you all have any questions about the legalities, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you.
So as Caitlin, oh, am I not close enough? Usually I'm too short. Yeah, so this is a unique opportunity for the city. We were presented with a bus, a free bus. It's a retired Indigo bus. And essentially what we wanted to do was do an art project on it. So what we did was we put a RFP together, and it was due last week. We're working through a wrapping company, and so it'll be a public art piece. This is specifically with Pattern. The lease is really going through you guys just as a formality. It's going to be part of the public right away. And what kind of questions do you have? I guess there is a lease in place for $350 per month. I'm not sure which section that's in, but.
Can you talk about, compare that rate of that lease and how we arrived at that and how that's a good deal for the city?
Really the function of this is there's going to be a pop-up retailer in here, and so we want it to be somewhat affordable for them to just kind of test the market. A lot of these retailers are within like an online space of some sort, so we don't want it to be too injurious to them to be able to afford that. They will be paying for liability insurance as well, so that's kind of where we came with $350.
Who is Pattern?
They are a nonprofit. They do a lot of marketing and art installations, primarily in Marion County, but they do a lot of work also in Hamilton County too, working with the city of Carmel, Noblesville as well.
Are they selling a product?
They do a lot of consultant work for arts installations, and they work with a lot of other nonprofit organizations that really promote public art within communities. And then on the side, they also do some marketing portions of that as well.
So I'll add that the way this is set up is that the lease is with Pattern, and Pattern is allowed to enter into subleases or third-party contract with these vendors. It's like using the bus as a pop-up space, but we've reserved the right for the economic development team to approve of any use, so that it won't be any use that's inconsistent with what the city wants. So if pattern says that someone selling jewelry will go in there, then Lauren's team would have to approve that use before they can go forward with that.
Yeah, and there's terms in there as well, as like who can actually be in there since it's public property. We want to have some limiting uses within that.
But the actual tenant who's going to be in that unit will change from not week to week,
Potentially,
but
so
throughout
yeah,
the season.
This is a year-long
Right,
lease.
so it's kind of exciting. I mean, it's different.
Almost like a co-working space.
Yeah,
Yeah, except
so
they're
they
a
could be there
retailer.
for 3 months.
Right.
There
No,
are
we
terms
get
we
it.
can kick them out if they don't abide by our lease terms here, but it's just a good flexibility of seeing if they could make it in a brick and mortar spot.
Cool, this is a neat project.
Will there be others, maybe we're getting too deep, will there be others along that corridor?
Along Jersey Street where this is
Yeah.
located,
Yeah, just question.
maybe, I mean,
Not,
really,
we don't know of
Not that
a
we're aware of.
standing line right now.
yeah, not that
No,
we're
I get
aware of
it.
at this point. We chose this spot specifically just because there is a lot more pedestrian traffic here, and we want people to go where people are. And so this has just made a little bit more sense on locating it here, especially with the farmer's market as well.
Makes sense to me. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 25-121.
And I will second. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Motion carries.
cool,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. Action item 4, resolution 25-125, resolution declaring personal property surplus. Very important personal property surplus.
Members of the board, Sean Keane, Chief, Westfield Police Department. Rather sadly, or rather unexpectedly, for us anyways, an agency, Assistant Chief Scott Jordan has announced his retirement from the police department after 29 years. So he's going to be deeply missed. As part of that routine process, one of the things that most every department I know of does is once an officer retires after 20 years of service, they receive their duty weapon as a retirement or parting gift. So that's what this resolution is, to award him his duty weapon after 29 years of service to the Westfield Police Department.
Very glad we can do this. Thank you for all your years of service. Thank you for the city, and I'm sure you've seen a lot as you've grown through that. Thank you. Do we have a motion? Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, other than rather we kept him, but I understand.
Me too.
No, I understand totally. Yeah, just good for him, hopefully. Yeah, it's obviously an honor to do this for him, and I make a motion that we approve resolution 25-125 on behalf of the service from Officer Jordan.
And
In
I
fact,
will
he's the assistant chief, correct?
Yes.
And I will make a second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank Chief Jordan for us, or Assistant Chief for us. Action item number 5. Adoption of final request for proposals for residential solid waste, yard waste, recycling, and disposal.
So this board already adopted and published a proposed RFP per the statute. John Rogers manned that and received comments. Now the next step is to adopt a final RFP. Nothing substantive has changed. I think we corrected 2 typos. We added an appropriate federal district, the Southern District of Indiana, and something about the rights if the contract was ever assigned. So nothing about the actual work that would be done. If you all approve the final RFP, it will be provided to interested parties. We don't have to publish it again, but John had that in his timeline just to get it out there again as well. And then proposals are due by June 2nd. They would be scored, and you all would be selecting someone a few months after that.
I think I might have missed the first meeting where we discussed this, but just a question for clarification on my end. How do we get feedback on the performance of this service and monitor it for residents?
That is a great question.
For John?
I can look into that and get back to you. I have reviewed it multiple times, but more for just the legal issues. I think there are things, I know reviewing it, it is definitely structured where we can terminate things if they're not doing things up to par and not living up to the contract. I can't recall those exact mechanisms right now, but I can definitely look into it.
I know there's a public hearing in the timeline, but
Yes.
just helping me understand how we, because I know if I go on waste management and I can report something, do we see that? How does that process work?
Yeah, and I'll just add to it, I mean, when it comes to actual performance, once a vendor is selected for trash pickup, I mean, we see that with our community development department and what was called guest services, some of the folks that answer the phones for the city of Westfield. We obviously log those concerns. We coordinate with currently waste management on those. So we definitely are tracking that data and making sure waste management is performing for our residents, just as a side note.
Cool. Well, yeah, if you could just email me back about how you would characterize our current performance and all that. I'm just curious. Thank you. Anything from you?
No, saw it before.
All right. Take a motion to approve action item number 5, the RFP for solid waste.
So moved. Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6 and 7 will be signing authorities for the approval of utility easement agreements for Citizens Water and Westfield Washington Schools.
Yeah, for the record, John Nail, Director of Public Works, City of Westfield. Apologies to the board for not having these documents ready to go. Caitlin and I have been working with some attorneys on the other side to make sure the language was to our satisfaction on this easement. But I do want to give the board some background information on what we're talking about with this particular item. So as you are aware, the Westfield Washington Schools are constructing a new transportation center west of Little Eagle Creek on the north side of 32, roughly in this area here. And there will be a new middle school going on that site as well. Obviously, those facilities need water, and there is not existing water in that location. So they are working with CEG, our water service provider, to extend a water main along 32 to provide service for the school. On that route, on that water main route, ours is a property that the city of Westfield actually owns. There's a greenway trail parcel that we own on north side 32 that CEG would like to utilize as that alignment. I've spoken with administration. Obviously, we want to be a good partner with the school, and we are willing to grant an easement on that parcel for the construction of that water main at no cost to these schools or to CEG. And so what we are asking for signing authority on is the grant of that easement and memorializing that that is a donation at no cost. So that's the background on this item. Any questions?
No, this sounds great to me. Any questions from you, Chuck?
No, I'm fine.
Do we need to prove them separately, Caitlin?
No, because I think the signing authority was drafted to include both.
Okay.
Since we don't, like John said, we are in agreement on the facts. We're not yet in agreement on the legal terms. So if you just want to approve the one signing authority, that would cover both.
Cool. I'll make a motion to approve signing authority for items 6 and 7, Citizens Water and Westfield Washington Schools easement agreement, and then the associated donation agreement to Westfield Washington Schools. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Have
carries.
that document in front of us as well. We'll sign it.
Perfect. Sign at the end, so I don't misspell my name. Public, action item number 8, we've got a public hearing, opening a public hearing on the award of a public-private agreement for build, operate, transfer for fiber infrastructure.
Would you like me to do a brief presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay. So before you today, Christopher Larson, Director of Informatics, City of Westfield, and with us is Corey Childs from Berrycom, who responded to the RFP. What we're building, just so everyone is aware, is a city-owned fiber ring, which is a multi-lane highway for all the city's data. This is an infrastructure project that is going to give us faster speed and crazy capacity for growth in the future. It's very flexible. We're not dependent on one vendor after we own it. We can go where we want to. We can also try to manage it in-house if we wanted to look down that path in the future. This also adds, part of this project adds all the new buildings that are going to be on the ring to our current ring, which is old, and we're replacing all of our ring equipment. My next slide just says map, because I'm going to click on this to show you what this looks like. So this is actually 2 different fiber rings that are interconnected and function as one for redundancy, with 2 little offshoots to get to station 82 and to station 85. All the yellow pins are city buildings, and without this, we really can't talk to our buildings. We can't share a camera network, a door access, Wi-Fi, file share. It is the city's data network. And this is roughly 20 miles of 144 strands of fiber. Right now, we have less than that and only 2 strands of fiber. And finally, just a breakdown of the cost is we're in a payment agreement through this BOT to pay the $2.09 million. Portion of it is the fiber, and then there's a portion of that that's also equipment, which is specialized switches that do all the communication between each other so that all these buildings think that they're right next to each other and on one network. So that's all I have. I will take any questions, and obviously Barrycom is here as well if you guys have any questions.
Chuck, do you have any questions to start?
At some point before a vote, you do have to do a public hearing.
Yeah. Not taking a vote yet.
Yep.
At this time, if you want to make a statement or any comments, that's fine, or we do have a public hearing, so whichever comes first is fine.
You mean from Barry?
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to present here with you today. Chris really outlined the purpose of the project, which is to build infrastructure that gives the city autonomy, the ability to expand, the ability to grow as data needs grow with capacities without incurring additional costs. I think it supports future smart city applications, whether it's security, public Wi-Fi spots. Our company is both a service provider and a utilities construction company. So I think we're a unique fit for this type of project where we do builds for whether it's telecom or cable providers as a construction company. But we also have a ISP arm where we manage large networks like this. Headquartered in Kokomo, we have offices in Indianapolis and Lafayette, and currently we serve communities from Cicero to Logansport as a fiber-to-the-home provider and enterprise service provider.
Perfect. Thank you. Chris, I'm having trouble just getting the review under the short of time when we got it late last week. That plus just a single respondent to the BOT RFP I'm having trouble with, so I'm myself more inclined to table this right now to dig into it a little bit more to verify that we got the best price that we can get on this.
So just for reference, Danielle Carey-Tolan, Deputy Mayor here at the city. I did talk to our attorney, Dennis Otten, before, because he's done several BOTs, and unfortunately, he was unable to make it today. But he just did a BOT up in Newton County, and they had a 10-year forgivable loan at $4 million, very similar project up there, and it is to provide fiber to all their government buildings as well up in Newton County. So it's
How many miles was that?
I can double check for that, but he said it was very comparable to what we sent out, and he was like, unfortunately, just because there's just a very niche market for the fiber, that they only had one recipient as well up there. It's just because of the areas, and I know that MetroNet could have probably bid out as well, but they're getting ready to be incorporated by Zayo, and so that wasn't something I think they were ready to do. And I know that we've had some some other issues with Zayo, just of, you know, getting things done in a timely manner, so, and I think they were more expensive on our end, so I just wanted to kind of give that comparable layout, but I can double check on the miles for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just an additional comment on that, we are currently tabling this could affect construction and things like that. In tabling it, I would be curious as to what would be the next steps. I don't know that we go back to RFQ or anything like that. When we've dealt with Zayo in the past, and all the equipment that we have now is all very aged. A lot of the switches on our current fiber network are 10 years old. So all of that's going to have to get overhauled anyways, and because we're at a point of none of these can be supported anymore by the manufacturers. So my concern is pushing it back more is going to cause more issues. And like Station 81, to get that up was $200,000 by itself. And we talked, yeah, and that was 1,700 feet roughly to do that sort of project. And that was just for one site. And this has all of our sites, even future sites, built into it and ready to go. But we have one station that's being built right now, and if we don't hit the timelines right, we may not be able to get fiber and get it lit up in time to actually use it.
Yeah.
Would be a concern.
So I'll add, I would defer to, as Danielle said, Dennis Otten is familiar with BOTs and has ran this from a legal side for us. I'm not seeing anything in the statute saying that that something has to be voted on within a certain amount of time, but I do know we would have to renotice for the public hearing. Well, I guess have the public hearing today.
And table it.
If it's not held today, then we would need to renotice. But if the issue was with a lack of responses, then we would have to start the process over and reissue, start the process
Yeah.
over.
I think we hold the public hearing today, and we move forward. What I'm looking for is just more information. I think we got this late Saturday or Friday into our inbox, a lot of the details, and then I came over to your office yesterday and got a lot more. Thank you so much for your time on that. But this is a big project, a big investment that's been in the works for a long time, and I'm not saying we need to reissue an RFP, but I just don't feel like I've gotten comfort that I understand that we've gotten the best price yet, is my only situation that I would have maybe gotten if there had been a second or a third respondent. That's the hard part I'm having trouble getting over myself, just to be transparent.
I appreciate that, and can understand that timeline seems short. I know I've been talking with the mayor, who's not here today, about this project as he's tasked us to think outside the box with advancing Westfield and what the future looks like. I know that they've also done a project for Howard County. It was similar size, and it was $3 million. So I feel that we're kind of in there where, I give the example of a roundabout. This is similar to that. Roundabouts are about $2.5 million, and you get one roundabout, and it's very helpful for the city. This is giving the entire city 20 miles of fiber, and we believe it is also at a good rate. So I appreciate. But I can get any other information you'd like if we decide to move.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and open the public hearing and public comment on this build, operate, transfer agreement with fiber for fiber for the city of Westfield to connect all the public buildings. Do we have anyone with public comment? We'll limit public comment to 1 minute a person.
Yeah, Rob Gaylor, Westfield Fire Department. Reference to the public hearing about the BOT process and the fiber ring. A couple concerning things from my perspective is one, going with Zayo was the company to do Station 81 project. It was $200,000 for 1,700 feet, let alone 20 miles worth of fiber for just a little over $200 or $2 million. Makes financial sense in my head. And then the other thing that I would say is delaying this puts Station 4 and Station 5 at risk for opening. That's all I have.
Anyone else? Public comment? close public comment on the build-operate transfer agreement for fiber infrastructure. Do we have a motion on this?
I would prefer to discuss it a little bit more. I'd like to, Danielle, share with us a little bit more about, I'm interested in our investment. I don't look at, I mean, we're investing into our future, right?
Correct.
And I'm not more concerned, but as concerned about where the dollars are coming from, how it's going to be paid, what our ongoing costs are.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, so this is,
forget whether we pass this today, tomorrow, or never, there are consequences. So where are we today?
Yep.
What if, what if?
yeah, so this is a 3-year bot agreement, which is an interest-free bot, which is something that we got specialized with Dennis expertise, so we don't have to pay any interest on this bot. So
Why
it is,
not?
why not?
Yeah.
Because we worked out a deal.
From?
Was it with, he knows, he was in the details. back.
Yeah, so under the bot structure, we're allowed to negotiate with the vendor to create a payment plan and how we're going to pay them. So, and that Dennis walked us through that whole process and made sure that it was all followed statute and everything like that. So that's an agreement that Barrycom is willing to do with us. Because they have to agree to us making those payments over time, even though the finished product could be done this year.
I understand, and I got that, but,
Okay, so.
okay, go
yeah,
ahead, sorry.
So we have, currently in the budget, general fund budget, under informatics line item, we have $500,000 this year to pay for this year's start of it. And then we'll add in another amount for the next 2 years into the general funds for that. So it will come out of general funds budget.
Okay.
So next year,
It will be
in
another.
2026, is $1 million?
Yes. Yeah, 200, it will be another 2 payments of 500,000 to them.
Timeline. Can you elaborate a little bit more about the delay issues of the fire station and construction? Because it would seem to me if the timeline were that important, we might have gotten it earlier.
And to be honest, it was actually supposed to be on the last one, so, and I presented the information to, you know, I got it by Wednesday, so I'm not sure what happens there, and I know that, you know, Pat has obviously a lot of work for this agenda, there are a lot of items, so she was making sure everything was correct, so I probably should have emailed it to you sooner, so that's on me and I apologize. For timeline reasons, apart from construction and getting all of the permitting, because they're still going to get permitted with the city for encroachment permits and trying to align with our other road construction projects to be as efficient as possible with roundabout closures and things like that when they're going to be in there. There's also a delay on ordering equipment. So the equipment that we need to get, specialized switches, the delay on that's like 4 months, I believe. So and they don't want to.
So we don't want to wait until next month's meeting, but maybe if we take some time to get some of these questions answered that I've asked that we haven't gotten answers to yet, and had a special meeting in a week or 2 weeks, that might not be as big of an issue for a delay.
I mean, yeah, that would obviously assist us if we went and the board was willing to do a special meeting, absolutely. But other than the timeline delays from ordering equipment, because obviously they're not going to move unless they know they have an agreement in place. It is just organizing and all the work and getting all the contractors in place and things like that to get the work done. So it just takes time, but it can still be done this year.
Candidly, rather than wait, I understand a little bit of the urgency. I'm trying to. So I'm not as concerned with whether we do this today or next week or whatever. I'm more concerned about payment. It's just that simple. And I'm pretty confident that there's no free. So they've built in to their contract the fact that they're not getting paid at the time of installation. I mean, we're simply paying them you know, on time or future. It's no big thing. It's like an interest-free loan. So we're going to pay them 500,000 this year, correct? And
Yeah, that's
$1 million next year,
Yep. And the remaining balance in the third year.
and 500, which is 2 million, right?
Yep,
Okay, cool. So, but they're going to do it this year.
correct. Yeah, instead of getting a loan or a bond from the bank or anything like that. So this
Well,
is just.
whatever, that's
yeah.
their responsibility. Our duties and responsibility, once we sign that contract, are you get this done, then we're going to pay you on this schedule. Got it. Okay. And, sorry, Corey, tell me about other projects that you have done.
Well, we've done several. The one nearest here would be in Cicero, northern Hamilton County. We overbuilt that entire community, hooked up the city buildings, but in that instance, we also did fiber to the home and fiber to the business. We co-locate with BEX hybrids and provide high-capacity circuits to that institution. And then as you proceed north within Howard County, we've worked very closely with that county. We built a county ring. We were awarded a grant in that instance from Howard County, a $3 million award. From that network, we've expanded into connecting very rural parts of Howard County, fiber to the home, fiber to the business. And then on into Cass County. We serve Walton, Galveston, parts of Logansport. And that's the ISP side of it. The construction arm, which I think is part of the differentiator for us and maybe what makes us especially unique. Everybody thinks they're special, but in this instance, I think we truly are in that we do underground utility construction as a business. So we'll build for the large telcos, the cable cos, REMCs, independent phone companies, and we've done that throughout the state. So the largest of the tier 1 telcos, cable companies, REMCs, we do builds for them on the regular. We do maintenance for them on the regular. We've done some large downtown Indianapolis projects for universities, campus-style builds such as this. And then we'll do large enterprise connections to towers, large businesses such as that. So we have the manpower, we have the machines, we have the tools, we have 20 years of experience in doing fiber construction for projects such as this.
Okay, cool. So within reason, I mean, when you see a project come online, within reason, if it's X feet or X miles, probably pretty quickly, you can estimate the cost. I mean, you've done this before.
Yes, yep.
It's not like, you know, you're going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to figure out a rough, I mean, so
What's
many
market
dollars a
rate
mile.
per mile of
Correct.
burying in urban areas, in your experience?
Well, urban has to be defined, right? So downtown city of Indianapolis could be $150, $200 a foot. Here it's unique in that there is some, what we would term as rural, right? As you get up towards the northernmost fire station, that cost per foot would be less than what we'll do within the city. So this is going to be probably an unfulfilling answer because it's such a wide range. But I would say anywhere from, on the low side, $18 to a foot, to the high side of $150 to $200 a foot. I know that's a massive ballpark, but it's very situational based on.
Crossing 31
Whether
is
you're-
probably 200.
Yes,
to get within dot.
yes.
Yeah.
Concrete jungles can definitely drive up the price. The other thing that helps with our estimating is we have in-house engineering. And that cost is within this project as well. So engineering can be up to 80 cents a foot. What also is in this project are 100 handholds. So if you just take like a standard bore rate, that probably isn't going to give you a full picture. You also want to account for the other items. So within this network design, we'll implement 100 handholds, which are in essence access points for the city to expand its network as it sees fit for future projects.
If you had ideal weather conditions, how many day project is this?
Well, we've kind of staggered it so we know the critical locations. Right? We got 2 fire stations coming online. And basically, we plan to have 2 crews going at the same time. We'll get a lot more done in the rural parts of the city than we will within the city in terms of days. But it's definitely a November, maybe October timeframe to complete this entire project. We will stage it in a fashion that connects the most critical sites that will need, that are absent connectivity today, that will need it to come online. Those sites, it's necessary that they get back to the hub, right? So where the egress is out to the rest of the world, where the information resides today that the fire station will need to have access to. So it isn't just getting there, it's also getting back to the core.
Cool. Thank you.
No more questions for
Danielle, has this been, share with me, I should know this, but I don't.
I might not know either, but I'll ask.
Where are we? Where is this in the process? Does this, or maybe Caitlin knows better. Does this now go back, if we approve this, where does it go next? Does it go back to the city council? Has already been approved?
This
Tell
is
me
it.
where we are.
Yeah, this is the final stage.
Period.
Period.
You need some ink.
Yep.
The city council has approved this?
They don't need to approve this because it's part of the budget. It doesn't have to.
That's
yeah.
what I was getting
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
I just, going back to the dollars.
Yes.
So this has been budgeted,
Yep.
set aside. It's part of, again, the mayor's
Projects, yep.
strategy, strategic plan, and blah, blah.
Yes. Yes, lots of blah, blah there. No, yes, this is part of our strategic.
Technical blah,
yes.
blah. I get.
This is definitely, don't put blah, blah in the minutes.
You can do it, you can put anything in the minutes.
No, yes, this is part of the budget already adopted by city council, and this is just the final steps to approve the project to move forward.
Danielle, we want to figure this out, and so help me understand how deleterious it would be if we waited a month, or whether we would need to do a special meeting next week to reopen it after already having held the public hearing.
So yeah, so I was just, again, there may be delays with the fire station if we don't get it approved, just based on the timelines that we have established, right? We have Station 84 already out of the ground going, and to connect those connectors is relevant. Obviously, 85 is a few months past that, so that's our only worry, is if we wait a month. And I kind of asked Chris that, both Chris and Christopher, that question just a minute ago of what does that delay look like? And I don't know if you want to answer that.
Well, I think to have been comfortable would have been nice to start a month ago, just to give you a sense of how. So we're already doing the engineering. It's nearly complete, which can take 30, 60 days. We're already submitting for state permits, so we remove that as an obstacle for the state road passings that we have. So it is that tight of a time frame that we're doing that preliminary work, just to save us a potential fire drill of our own to get this service installed. And it is construction. We know that there's a lot of projects that are going on right now with the city itself, and we're going to coordinate closely with the city so we can avoid causing any problems for the other things that are going on. So there'll be some maneuvering that needs to be done. It is construction, and sometimes unforeseen issues extend the time frame. I don't mean this to rush it along, but we are at a point where we're cutting it close already to be able to get fiber to that location back to the core.
Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President?
You and I have both had significant questions about this. I believe that our duties and responsibilities are to overlook these projects and give our approval based on what we think is reasonable and in due service to the community. I sympathize with you. I agreed with you yesterday that we should look into this further. and maybe consider delaying the decision. At this time, I don't see it's in our duty and responsibility. My questions have been answered about the financing. It's gone through the city council, it's gone through previous budgeting, future budgeting. I'm comfortable.
Okay.
I just am. I'm not, you can record this or not. I'm not necessarily, pardon me?
It is being recorded.
That's totally fine. My mic is on. I'm not necessarily always comfortable when we don't have competitive bids, but
That's
I
not
also
big, yeah.
understand sometimes the reason why we don't, okay? Doesn't make it any more comfortable, but I don't see where we're gonna, I don't see where this board today, just two of us, sit here and make a big difference. I mean, we could take Corey back in the closet and tell him that, we need him to drop 100 or 2 or something. I don't.
Caitlin might have a problem with that.
So that's probably not gonna happen. So at this point, I think we've done our due diligence. We've beat this. And I think that those in
Move it
attendance or
forward,
though hearing, if you're comfortable, I
I'm
don't wanna
comfortable
try
with
to
it.
change your mind.
I'm
I just
comfortable
want
with it.
you to know that I've changed. I mean,
Yeah.
not that I've changed. I had questions. They've been answered.
I'm comfortable moving it forward. Going forward, I want to see that we do a better job of soliciting more bids ahead of time, and as we have said a couple times in this meeting, getting this stuff to us more ahead of time. I know this is a long exception meeting with 36 agenda items, but that makes this even harder. But that's the part that would be better going forward for me.
And we understand that for sure on our end. I mean, we did ask Theo to bid, but they opted out of bidding it out. So we would have had at least another competitive if they chose, but I don't think they had the capacity or willingness to do it.
In fairness, not fairness, just transparency to you, Nick, I do recall, just since listening to Christopher talk, I know that he's been working on this for months, and I think he made a comment back in that third row that this should have been, I mean, before today, I knew that this was coming. I didn't know the degree of the complexity of it, but I knew it was coming. And it's not like a secret that we're building new stations, so with respect to us, to you, I still think we should move it forward. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me. I'll make a motion to approve the build, operate, transfer agreement for fiber infrastructure. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Public safety is number one, so you can put that in the record too.
Thank you. We have 18 neighborhood vibrancy grant agreements. Just, I think, speak broadly about them. How's the process and
I will do my best to be as quickly as possible with this. For the record, Chris McConnell, Director of Parks and Recreation for the city. Before you, the next 18 items are just that. They are the grant agreements for each HOA that applied for, went through the scoring process, and are going to be awarded grants through the initial year of the Neighborhood Vibrancy Grant Program. These agreements spell out the dollar figure associated with the grant, as well as all of the criteria that they need to follow in order to be awarded these dollars.
can you tell me more about, have we disclosed how many applied and did not meet scoring and all that?
There were 29 total HOAs that applied. The residual that did not get scored, the reason they didn't get scored was they did not complete the application process. They didn't meet the requirements of the application. They didn't include the documentation of a certified
or whatever it
quote.
is,
Yeah, they didn't meet those, and we have reached out to them, and there will be dollars left over for another round in the fall, and reached out to them and let them know where they were deficient and encourage them to reapply with their project in the fall.
Perfect. And do we know how many total HOAs there are?
I honestly, I don't know.
Me either.
A lot.
Okay.
Growing every day.
That's all the questions I had on this. I think this is a great program. Thank you guys for putting it together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he got my question in.
Okay.
Is there still money available if somebody decides they got left out?
There is.
When they wake up?
We had a total, if I remember off the top of my head, there was a total of $250,000 budgeted, which equaled to, if everyone was awarded the max amount, to 25 grants. We have spent, and we will award about $166,000 of that in this first round of grants. So the residual of that, roughly $90,000, will be left to grant in the fall.
Sure. Let the record show there's plenty left.
Yes, sir.
Makes sense to me. I'd like to make a motion to approve the 18 neighborhood vibrancy grant agreements as listed as action items number 9 through number 26 in the agenda. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Anything we need to clean up on that? All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
27, HWC and the City of Westfield Agreement for Land Management Services.
Good afternoon, Westfield Stormwater Coordinator, City of Westfield. In front of you, you have a proposal and contract from HWC to provide our post-construction BMP maintenance in regards to our regulatory duties for IDEM. This is an ongoing maintenance program that we've had done with puddle jumpers in the past, who was recently HWC had recently purchased that company. So we are moving forward with our duties to maintain our wet, dry basins, roadside spraying, the general BMP maintenance. The contract from last year has actually gone up by 3%. We have budgeted for this accordingly. We anticipate budgeting a 3% increase potentially next year as well. So nothing necessarily new here, but if you have any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer.
That was going to be my question, is how much it went up. So you answered it. Reasonable amount. Any questions from you?
No.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the HWC Land Resources Agreement for Land Management Services. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Resolution Group, action item number 28, inventory of private post-construction best management practices.
So the other half of this equation is the privately owned BMPs that we do not have a responsibility to maintain, but we do have a responsibility to identify and catalog. We haven't really started that process. It's a little bit overwhelming. I think we've gotten the encouragement from the state level to move forward with that. This contract with Resolution Group will take a small piece of the city and begin that process. It is fairly new to us what it looks like, so we're developing it. We'll start with some just general inventory, see what kind of BMPs we have out there, start identifying who owns these BMPs. Hopefully in the future we actually move forward with our ordinance, which requires that those BMPs are being inspected and maintained, and we have a due diligence to notify those owners. So that's what this is. This has also been budgeted for this year, and I anticipate this being a future endeavor as well, moving forward.
Any questions from you, Chuck?
No, I'm good. I'm fine. Need a motion?
Yeah. We have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, we approve our action item number 28, resolution for private post-construction
Best management practices. I will
best
second.
management practices.
I will second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I have a quick question interjected for Christopher. Why does my screen keep going blank?
Civic Plus is experiencing technical difficulties this week, and he has submitted a help ticket already for it.
All those things he said. I'm actually trying to contact some people right now during the meeting, so unfortunately.
I thought it was something maybe I'd
No, you're doing
caused.
great. It's not you. It's not you, it's me. Okay?
I assume
If,
that
if we had new
I assume
fiber.
that the new fiber is going to take care of all this. There's going to be a wire running right up to this desk.
Yeah, so I apologize. I'm not sure what's causing that error. I'm trying to get work with Civic Plus to get that
It's
fixed.
called aw, comma, snap.
Aw, snap.
Aw, snap.
I'm
Reload.
glad that's on the record.
See, we got it on our screen too. I just have to reload. There you go.
It just makes me feel better. It's not user error on my end.
It is not user error.
Action item number 29, BLN, City of Westfield, LPA contract for town road extension, 166 to 32.
Yep, for the record, again, John Nail. So we have long contemplated, it's in our thoroughfare plan, an extension of Town Road. So I mentioned the school facility in my previous comments out west on 32. That project has really accelerated our timeline for the extension of a town road project. The limits are from 166th Street down here past the Westgate neighborhood. And we'll have a new bridge crossing Little Eagle Creek, and then we'll swing that roadway up to tie into the town road portion the school is building next to the transportation center. So this is a new alignment roadway. It's exciting stuff for engineers. We don't get to build a lot of new alignment roads, and so that's fun stuff. We don't get to build a lot of bridges in Westfield either, so we are certainly excited about this project. The consulting firm that we've selected to design this project is Aegis BLN, and Aegis may not be a household name, but Beam Longest and Neff is the BLN. You may recognize that name. Well-known local firm here for many, many years. They were acquired by a company called Aegis. So John Beery and April Gregory are here on behalf of Aegis. They don't plan to make any remarks, but they're here if there are questions. The total contract amount is $1,809,090. And there are two other firms within this contract that will be working alongside Aegis, and that is GAI doing some bridge work as well as RKW doing some road work. So there are really three consulting firms involved in this project. It's a large design. We definitely wanted to include more than just one firm in that design. We feel very confident about their ability and are excited to get them started. So we've negotiated this contract over a couple months. We've brought that number down some from the initial amount. We feel like that is a fair market price for this design work, and we would ask for approval from the board.
Is there going to be any widening in the future of the road as it approaches the new road you're building, or is it even needed?
Yeah, so the concept that we're looking at is a boulevard section for Town Road, and we would have the ability to widen inward to 4 lanes. So we're going to put 2 lanes out there initially because that's what traffic dictates. We'll have the flexibility to widen to 4 lanes in the future. We've done this for other roadways in Westfield as well.
So following this, having seen this come through a little bit, they're going to do the final design, right?
Correct.
So that's what others have been talking about, is what does this look like?
Yep. They will be taking it
They're the ones that are
from,
going to decide.
Yeah, they will be taking it from today, just a concept, all the way through bidding and into construction.
Considering wetlands and
All that stuff.
all that
Correct.
stuff.
Yep. A lot of floodplain, floodway considerations crossing a major stream like Little Eagle Creek.
And you're comfortable with, obviously, they've been around a long time. You comfortable with the cost?
Yes, I am.
Cool.
Makes sense to me. We have a motion to approve.
Sure. I'll make a motion. We approve action item number 29, contract with Aegis BLN for the 166th, is it? Yeah, 166th Street and 32 project.
I will second that. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Action item 30, A and F, LPA Consulting Contract, Construction Inspection Services for 161st and Spring Mill Roundabout.
Yeah, John Nail again. So this may seem familiar to the board. Back in January, you approved a proposal from Lockmiller Group for inspection services for 161st and Spring Mill Roundabout in the amount of $440,000. What had happened since then, we did not sign a contract, and we actually, a specific employee of Lockmiller that we were looking to have do the inspection work under the contract actually went to A&F Engineering subsequently. And kudos to both A&F Engineering and Lockmiller Group, really thinking about the city first. They got together, and A&F is bringing forth this contract to have that employee do the inspection work of the roundabout. We're going to have Lockmiller Group as a sub to them. And then you'll see another contract on later in the agenda for sort of the remainder to make sure that Lockmiller Group is made whole for that revenue. But the crux of this contract is for construction inspection of the Spring Mill and 161st roundabout. That's inclusive of a ped bridge over the John Edwards Drain as well. A&F will be doing the inspection on that project. The contract is in the amount of $417,240. And we are eager to get that project underway. It starts here very soon. And we just asked for approval of this construction inspection contract with A&F. And there may be some questions in there I'm happy to answer.
Chuck, any questions from you?
I'm fine. I've watched this come through.
All right, I'm good with it too. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 31, another A&F contract, Grand Park to Spring Mill Design Services.
Yeah, so this is a big agenda for design contracts. So before you is a contract for what we're calling the Phase 2 of 191st Street. You may recall that we are currently in design for a 191st Street widening from Tomlinson Road over to Grand Park Boulevard, inclusive of a new roundabout at Grand Park Boulevard. That is Phase 1. Phase 2 picks up from the end point of that project, widens 191st Street to the west, and includes a roundabout connecting Horton and 193rd Street together. And this contract will also include a Spring Mill realignment with another roundabout at 193rd and Spring Mill near the Osborne Trails entrance. This is another project that's large enough. We wanted to have two different consulting firms working on the project, somewhat to kind of share the responsibilities. So HWC will be a sub to A&F Engineering. The contract is in the amount of $1,177,130. We have negotiated this contract down as well from the original amount, saving the city about $150,000 from the initial proposal. Again, my team and I have looked at this very closely. We feel good about the number, especially considering the scope and size of the design in question. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Makes sense to me, Chuck.
Share with me the Osborne Trail entrance again.
Yeah, and
not shown on here.
Correct. To be fair, initially over the last 5 years, we had contemplated this roundabout to connect Spring Mill as well. In working with economic development as well as our city council, there were concerns about breaking up this parcel into two pieces versus having one large developable tract of ground. So at least initially, and we'll vet this out during the design with A&F and HWC, but at least initially we are contemplating a slight change in that strategy where Spring Mill would tie in to a new roundabout up on 193rd Street. We'll have to acquire some right-of-way to do that. And then we would vacate, through a council action, vacate the existing right-of-way that Spring Mill would have tied into that new roundabout. Again, this is based on working with economic development and our city council. This kind of new change was preferred, especially by city council. And so we're gonna go in that direction. Of course, if something comes up in design, we can always pivot if we need to, and we'll involve you and council if that does occur. The really nice thing about this project is 191st and 193rd are becoming larger and larger traffic volume roadways. and having a smooth transition from 193rd down to 191st Street with a tie into Horton is going to be really critical for traffic flow versus currently you have to make a 90-degree turn right, and then you got to make a left at a stop sign on Spring Mill, and Horton tees into 191st Street. It's really kind of clunky and not efficient for traffic flow. So this project's going to help streamline some of that 191st, 193rd Street congestion.
Makes sense to me. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Action item number 31, it's a contract with A&F Engineering for 191st and Spring Mill.
Seconded, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 32, Westfield Collective and City of Westfield, public right-of-way dedication.
Yes, for the record, Michael Pierce, City Engineer with Department of Public Works. This item is a pretty straightforward item. This is just some right-of-way dedication that's required per our development ordinance. This is for the Westfield Collective, formerly known as I-Beach. They're developing a parcel at 181st and Grand Park Boulevard. And rather than doing a platting process, they're dedicating this right-of-way via meets and bounds. So you can see actually on the agenda that, sorry, there's a, this is 30. Oh, maybe. Essentially, you can see it's just basically a corner cut right at the intersection that. Oh snap! So it's basically just some right-of-way dedication right at the corner. So this will allow us to build the roundabout at this intersection that's planned to go into construction next year. So it's just accepting the right-of-way dedication for that project.
They're under construction now, right?
Correct.
So the construction of this roundabout at 181st and Grand Park Boulevard will be next summer.
No,
There's
the
a
project.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
Westfield
Yes.
Collective currently is in construction.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
No questions from me.
Nope, I'm fine. I'll make a motion to approve our action item number 32, Westfield Collective in the City of Westfield, dedication of public right-of-way.
Second, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 33, Westfield Properties and Quick Claim Deed, Austrian Pine Greenway Trail Corridor Dedication.
Yep. Again, Michael Pierce. This is similar item to where it's a dedication of land to the city. We will take ownership of the property. If you can see here, it's located basically along the Greenway Trail along State Road 32, as well as this portion of land, which contains a portion of the Midland Trail. That currently is owned by the developer of these properties. They're quit claiming those properties over to the city. So this is just acceptance of those properties so they become city property.
Makes sense to me. Yep. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
When my screen lights up. Action item number 33.
And I will second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 34, Lennar Homes, Osborne Trails, Section 15 Perimeter Trail Developer Agreement.
Yep. Again, Michael Pierce. This ties into our kind of ties into the previous discussion regarding the second phase of 191st Street widening. Osborne Trails is Section 15 is developing just adjacent to our. If you go south, just slightly. Yeah, right in through here. So Osborne Trails Section 15 is this section right in here. As per our UDO requirements, they're required to put in a perimeter path along all of their frontage. In this case, that would be along this section of 193rd and along this section of Horton. Rather than having them construct that now, because we don't have a design yet, which would lay out elevations, drainage, that sort of thing for where that path would be along here. We're having them simply pay a cost to us, what that path would cost basically now, and then we'll take those fees and apply it to the project to build that path when we build the roundabout project. So that's essentially what this agreement is just to allow us to collect those fees and then apply it to build the path at a later date.
It essentially eliminates a lot of rework once we go through the construction of that roundabout.
Makes sense, lay one while you're doing another. Makes sense to me. Anything from you on this, Chuck?
It's fine, I'm just trying to find on my screen.
Good luck.
So they're gonna pay us $77,000?
Correct.
Cool.
I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve action item 34, Lennar Homes Developer Agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 35, Lockmuller, on-call inspection and design services master agreement.
Yeah, John Nail again. I touched on this item previously, but again, I just want to thank Lockmiller Group and A&F both to work through some of these items with the city. They're really putting the client first when it came to this contract issue. And this is a master services agreement in the amount of $293,000 for inspection and design services from Lockmiller Group. This was the difference between the original contract that we approved, Lockmiller, and the subcontract amount that they're going to be helping out on inspection on 161st Street. That $293,000 is the difference in that amount. And we are going to utilize them for a future inspection project and potentially a design project as well within that contract. This is we have on-call contracts with lots of consultants in the same capacity, and potentially even they could be doing inspection on 181st Street Phase 1 under this master agreement. So we haven't defined exactly what the project's going to be, but I would ask the board to approve this contract. We will assign task orders as they come, and it gives us a lot of flexibility as an engineering department to quickly assign tasks to Lockmiller, to a firm that we know and trust to get the job done.
Perfect. Makes sense to me on this one. I'll make a motion to approve action item 35, Lockmiller, on-call inspection.
Second.
Made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Waypoint Strategies in Westfield. And this was the document that we just got at the beginning, so we might have to table this one today because I haven't had time to read it.
Yes, for the record, Matthew Duck, Director of Facilities and Events for the City of Westfield, and I do apologize for the late submittal of the agreement. We just got everything to kind of closing at the end of last week, and in seeing when your May meeting was, we were trying to get it into the April meeting as we're very excited to start moving forward with Waypoint. Just a little bit of history. I've been talking to 3 different companies over the last year with regards to being somewhat of a facilities partner to the city. The facilities department, surprisingly enough, is only just a little over a year old. And considering the size of the city and the number of buildings that we have, we definitely need to get this department up to speed, up and running, and there is a lot that needs done. So we're very excited in moving forward with a facilities partner, and in comparing Waypoint to the 2 other partners that we talked to, they've got a very defined roadmap, and their knowledge and experience certainly put them above the other 2. They were less expensive than one of the other options, and the third option just did not offer the same services or the defined roadmap that we were looking for. Audra Blasdale is here from Waypoint Strategies to present with regards to what they will be doing for the city. And then if potentially that is enough information that could lead you to a vote, that would be wonderful, but I certainly understand if you still need time. And if we need to wait all the way until the next meeting at the end of May, we can certainly do that. If there is another option to get this approved so that we can get this moving prior to then, that would be wonderful. So with that, I will turn it over to Audra.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Thanks for having me here. Audra Blaisdell with Waypoint Strategies. We are a WBE firm that specializes in helping organizations build, maintain, and operate their facilities. I don't know how the best way to do this. You got me? Okay, great. Great. So our objective, after spending some time talking with Matt over the last several months, we learned a lot about where Westfield is relative to their facilities and where they want to go. So we also talked a lot about where you want it to be as a growing community and how we set a good foundation for doing that. So our main goal is to empower the city of Westfield to be able to effectively manage its facilities as it grows. And we're going to do that through a variety of steps to help build that foundation. Some key components are listed here. Those were also specifically called out and feed into the various phases that we're going to talk about next. But we wanted to highlight that it will come with a 5 to 10-year capital plan. We'll be looking at energy use optimization as well, and that is a very simple energy assessment that we do to help inform pieces. And then we'll also look at a needs-based planning to address some of the operational challenges that could be out there. And then also long-term sourcing a CMMS, which is a computerized maintenance management system. So that will help feed all your asset data and help you make sure that you're able to do some data-driven decision-making so that you have that history on various assets and how they're performing. You can go to the next one. I always like to note that we kind of have a broader philosophy that we operate from when we look at working with a community to do this sort of work. So we like to look at the fact that facilities maintenance, your capital program management, and comprehensive planning all fold into one, and they need to work together. And oftentimes, where everybody wants to start is on the really big picture or down in the nitty-gritty, and we find that starting in the middle to understand what you have and how you get a 5 to 10-year plan in place is important. And then from there, we look at your comp plan and we look at kind of the inner details and what needs to happen in the short term from a maintenance perspective to build that 5 to 10-year plan. But we need to get that midline assessment put into place. And so we break this down into 3 phases that will happen in succession: a facility condition assessment, then a 5 to 10-year capital investment plan, and then we'll pull together an operational strategy. I'm going to cover the next couple slides at a really high level. This was all in the agreement and everything else, which I know you just got, and we apologize for that. Just want to be cognizant of time as well today while we've been here. So phase 1 for your facility condition assessment, this will be exactly what it sounds like. We're going to look at all the key mechanical, building systems, building envelope, and architectural components. We'll also talk with teams that are managing these facilities and within these facilities to identify any operational challenges or ongoing issues within the facility. And this is also where the energy use will come into play, which is done via a bill review. We put all of this into a very specialized, not proprietary, but a system that we've developed in-house called Scope, which is a strategic capture of planning elements. And on our next slide, I note I've got some screenshots. It's thinking about it. There we go. I've got some screenshots. This example that we use is from an elementary school or from a school system, but in essence, it allows you to have all your buildings listed. We can look at what the costs are associated with various things, and we can also chart those. So you can sort that down to looking at a singular building. You can also pull back and look at that from your community overall. So that is a dynamic Power BI interface that we utilize over the top of the data to be able to manipulate that and look at that in various ways. Our ability to do that then feeds into this phase 2, which is a capital investment plan. Part of what this work will be is we'll also come up with a customized prioritization factor. You know, a lot of folks say, well, this has got to be your highest priority, but we know that, and I know from running a multitude of different facilities, that everybody's priorities can sometimes be a little bit different. Where your focus areas are, where the pain points are, what are the things that always rise to the top, those can be different. So we'll build a customized prioritization factor, and then we'll start to work through how that trickles down into a 5 to 10-year plan. We'll also look at your ROI from the energy use assessment. We'll look at some of those energy hogs and make sure we're addressing those in the short term and that we're doing that appropriately. And we'll also do some budget scenario planning with that so that you can have, based on where budgets are, which we know is an ongoing challenge to be able to predict out, you can kind of utilize different scenarios within that. Then the big piece that kind of culminates all that together and then says, let's get a baseline in place to really position you well, is getting into this operational strategy, which is phase 3. And this will occur in the 2026 timeframe. So we'll look at what your strategic objectives are. And we do this because not everybody wants to fix every element of everything, right? Where is it you want your team to be focused, and then where is it that someone else needs to take over? And how do we make sure we have your SOPs defined in that way? How do we make sure that your maintenance contracts are also in alignment with that? And then we use those various use case scenarios and that information to help you procure a computerized maintenance management system. And those all then feed into that. That asset data we collected all comes into that. Depending on what capabilities we've decided you want to be able to do, we'll also bring that all over into that system as well. With that, we also then look at your growth plans and also transition plans into some centralized maintenance, as well as at what point would you need to grow your staff, or would you need to revisit certain contracts as you continue to add on different buildings. This is a brief timeline here. So 2025, we'll focus on phase 1 and phase 2, and then 2026, we will focus on phase 3, coming that culminating point. We just always, at Waypoint Strategies, our goal, I was an owner. Before I was consulting, I was running multiple buildings, campuses for universities, the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, and a variety of other places. And so my focus is really coming from that standpoint. I've been in your facility manager's shoes. I've been in Matt's shoes. I know the things that go on. And so we really try to build our services with that focus. And that's why you see that as our mission and vision here. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Matt can, I think, also help. I did that really fast, so apologies.
Chuck, do you have any questions?
So this is a new service, something we have not done in the past,
Yes,
correct?
it is. And actually, the 2025 phase 1 and phase 2 was included in my budget for this year. So it's already been budgeted. And then once we get to doing, obviously, the budget for next year, we'll work on phase 3.
What's the city anticipate? So we're paying her money. What's our return?
I think efficiency is one thing, energy efficiencies. I think having a true understanding of what each of our facilities has, what their strengths and weaknesses are. I think most importantly, what we need to be focusing on in the future. We've got some old buildings, we've got some new buildings coming online, and having an experienced company like Waypoint coming alongside of us is exactly what we need to make sure that we're making all of the correct choices with how that facility needs to proceed.
Where are you going to start?
I thought that was a pretty good answer.
It's an excellent, not where are you going to start, which building are you going to start with?
I don't know that we know. I would imagine city services.
That's a good
probably
start.
being the primary source for most of the employees,
Yes.
and then go out from there.
Can't need anything else, right?
So I assume we're looking at savings and efficiency, obviously, is what you said.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So we'll get our money back. I mean, it appears, looking at our agenda, it appears we were going to give him the authority to sign this document.
Yeah, I don't.
Instead, we get to see it.
I think I got myself in trouble by trying to get you the actual agreement. If I had just kept it at the signing authority, we
That's
might
right.
have been in better shape. So
That's right.
That's
We would've-
my fault.
we would've-
I hadn't looked at it, and I have to review every contract, and it didn't have
So
everything
you're
it
to
needed.
blame?
So
You needed more time too. Well, I'm inclined to do the signing authority, but.
That's fine.
But if we
Let him
can
sign it.
try to do the deadlines going forward, and if we need to have a special second meeting in a month, I'm inclined to do one, but I know that's a lot of work for everybody else in here, but, in the future, if that deadline becomes obtrusive, but, So I'll make a motion
I
to
understand it.
approve
Yeah.
signing authority for Waypoint Strategies in the city of Westfield. Do we have a
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Sign
carries.
off on it.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
37, it's the final mile. Recommendation of per diem for Westfield Fire Department Merit Commission, Westfield Police Department Merit Commission. Rob Gaylor, Sean King.
Did you on the progress of our merit board? One of the points of discussion was whether or not the merit board would receive a per diem rate, which other departments' merit boards do. In discussions with the mayor, his preference was that we do. And in going through that process, it was learned that the fire department does currently not have a per diem rate. So under the statute, it only requires that the Board of Work make a recommendation and that the city council would actually set the rate. So all we're here to do today is to ask you if you would make the recommendation that both the police and fire merit boards have a per diem or speak favorably about a per diem.
Makes sense to me.
Fine. More than fine with it.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Consent agenda. Having reviewed the April bond information ahead of time, I have no issues. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve is presented.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Westfield Fire. March report.
See if I can get it pulled up here before we get the all snap. So March was actually a unique month for us. We saw over an 8% increase in calls versus 2024 to 2025. Nothing really glaring as far as call types or out of the mill stuff, just an increase in activity overall. So approaching 400 runs, again, we're right there at that 65-35 split between fire and EMS or medical calls. Average 13, just a little over 13 runs a day. Again, the response time or the turnout time was a minute and 8 seconds, which is really brag about the folks. That is a conglomeration of every run that comes in. So everything from a low emergency priority run to the highest emergency priority run that we go on at all hours of the day, from the time the bells go off in the station till the members are actually pulling out of the apparatus bay to get on the call. And a minute and 8 seconds, I think, is really pretty good. 956 times we had an apparatus on the road responding emergent to a call. Other than that, I just don't want to bore you with statistics and numbers and data. It's been a long meeting, but overall, 8.1% increase in call volume versus last year at the same time. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
No questions from me.
Do you anticipate that going forward to be, I mean, it's going to increase, right?
Yeah, we're going to see, and there's a lot of theories or thoughts or discussions, right? You need to have so many firefighters versus how many people you have. We're a little different than the police department. The police department, really, that's a standard model. So many people in the community, so many police officers. The fire department is not necessarily that way. There's not necessarily if we get 1,000 more people in our community, then we're going to see another 100 runs. It doesn't really work that way. And we know that just by the simple fact that we have a major thoroughfare in US 31 with hundreds of thousands of individuals coming through our community, and it doesn't result in thousands and thousands of calls. So the trend line is up. The trend line has been up for 20 years. Very easily see between 3 and we've had a couple years where we've seen a 20% jump from one year to the next. I think when I had spoke to the council 3 years ago, I projected numbers in that 5% range. And so we're pretty close on that. But yeah, the trend line is going up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Westfield PD, March report. Chief Keen.
Members of the board, Sean Keane, Westfield Police Department. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about this. I know this has been a long meeting. I'd rather convey a couple things to you to update you on a couple things. So as I said, Assistant Chief Scott Jordan has retired. Captain Billy Adams will be taking his spot as the Assistant Chief over administration. That will begin at the start of next month. In addition to that, I'll update you just briefly on the merit board. We had our meeting last night. We have until the end of next month to finish all the rules regarding hiring, promotions, and disciplinary appeals. We're well underway. They've hired their attorney, and we're working with her to get a working draft ready for our May 8th meeting. So I think we're going to be in good shape. At the end of May, that we'll be in a position in June, hopefully, that we can start another hiring process. Because until we do that, we can't fill vacancies as we go. So when I talk about retirements, we're probably still 3 to 4 months out that process from where we'd be in a position to actually hire replacements for these people. So I just want to give you an update on where we are with the merit board and where we are with the promotion to assistant chief for Captain Adams. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the report or anything else about the police department right now.
I thought I saw Scott here earlier, but thank him again for his years of service from us. And
Absolutely.
29's a long time to be with the same department.
Yes. Yeah.
No further questions from me.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
your service.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
That's okay. No, we've been here long enough. So
Oh,
shortly, just from
it
Public
wasn't my
Works.
fault, it was Pat's.
No, that's okay. Just from Public Works, I feel safe in saying we're out of winter finally. So happy about that. I want to thank our guys for all their efforts in snow removal through the winter. And then it's a big construction season for us. So ask the public to be patient, to follow the detour routes, and to follow Westfield on social media, Travel Westfield, any of those mechanisms with which we get the word out on closures and detour routes. Just stay vigilant out there, respect the construction zones. And yeah, we're excited to get these projects done as quickly as possible and these improvements made for our residents. And last, I just thank you guys, Chuck and Nick, and then Kim, for enduring this long agenda. I know it's a big time commitment and a lot of reading, but thank you for all your efforts on this one.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you for, I was using Google Maps the other way through a detour, and it knew where all the record road closures were in Westfield, and helped me get through it. Thank you. Anything from you? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you all.